Oh, Bella, it's day 40 now. What are we gonna do, huh? Since you're here, I'm gonna put you up in my lap. Big baby! Ugh. Yeah. You've probably gotten bigger in the last 40 days, huh? Now that everyone's been hanging out with us? Has she gotten bigger, this dog? Or have I gotten smaller? I feel like we're like, wow, that's a big dog. But I'm like, it's just a small person. Bonjour, welcome, hello. Kamusta, magandang umaga. All these different languages. I'm really glad that I get to share this with you from so far away. Welcome to day 40 of our practice together. Holy crap. Yeah, wow. We didn't think you would get this far, but we did. Thank you so much for joining us for every single day of these. Joe, who's here, Fish Anywhere, you've been around for a lot of them. Jeremy, you've been for a lot of them too. 23 Axolotl, Rachel from Raw Rager, Asulaidi. Yeah, welcome. Wow. Now that we're here, I don't want it to end, but it's okay. We'll still have each other. Don't worry about it. I'm such a sentimental person. It's like we're done broadcasting for 40 days straight, but I'll see you guys next Sunday, so it's not gonna be a huge deal. Welcome to today's tea practice, day 40. Wow, yeah, I have something that I'd like to share with you guys today, which is a tea that I made, just to kind of wrap things up and to follow up on stuff that we talked about yesterday about tea making and all of that. But yeah, we're not going to go too deep into details and stuff like that. I'd like to just hang out with you guys. And I guess if there's something I want to talk to you guys about today is, I guess, the steps of tea from the farm to the cup. This is a tea that I made last year during my birthday. Thanks to the generosity of my teacher, her family, Fan, her sister, her mother, Nai Nai, who we call grandma, yeah, and all of them. Xiao Yi, her daughter, they're the people I stay with all the time in Taiwan. That's the only reason why I'm able to stay there and not get completely eaten up, you know. And this is the tea that they let me make last year during my birthday. Nai Nai, who is my teacher's mom, so she's my teacher too. She's, 80 and some change, like 82, 83 years old, and she loves going up to the forest, loves going up to the mountain in the area behind their house. And in the area behind their house is actually where their old tea farms used to be, back when their family escaped to Ilan from Taipei during the Japanese occupation of Taiwan. And that's why they have farms there, and you don't hear about Ilan very much from Taiwan. You guys have heard of Nantou, where Dongting is from. You guys have heard of Alishan, Lishan, Shanlinshi. You know, you're hearing these names thanks to my friend Matt. You're hearing about Hualien now. Also not so typical tea region, but there's Ilan, which is actually very close to Taipei. And this is where their family lives and where their old tea farms are. And I'll explain a little bit why you don't hear very much about that in just a little bit. Yeah, let me continue my highs. Shiloh, welcome. Thank you for your infinite knowledge. Nienke S. Becker, Esther, bonjour to you too. Timati, Hide Stock, RB Ceramics, Rabina, nice to see you. Lilac Sabina, wow, all our friends are here. Oh, Steve from Shita Chutling and Delphine. Oh, come on, guys, all my favorite people are here. We're missing a couple people though. Go get them. Everyone, go get them. Who's still missing? Eric's not here yet. You know, you always need an Eric. Go get Christine from So Far to Fall. Who else is missing? You guys already know all each other's names. Goodness gracious, by this point, right? Yeah, let us know what you guys are drinking today. We're gonna be drinking some oolong. This is an oolong tea. And then I'll be brewing with the help of the wood-fired pot that Nai Nai and I like to use at their tea shop. Just a couple, like a mile away from this tea farm, maybe even less. I don't know. Usually I would want to use a gaiwan for this, but I already know this tea will need a little bit of help, so I'm just going to go straight to the wood-fired pot. You know, it's not a tea that you want to evaluate because I made it, so it's... I talked about this in the Discord. It's not like the tea is very good. It's like a toddler trying to color with crayons when they're like really thin lines. It's barely tea. you know, but I am really proud of it. I'm really happy about it. Just don't get me wrong. It's not like I saved this because it's the best tea of, you know, all 40 days. By far, it's really not. But it's very special to me, and I really love making tea. I love brewing tea. I figured out that I really love processing tea as well. And yeah, it's just super special, you know? You guys bring me so much joy. I hope that these sessions have brought you some kind of joy and enjoyment as well. Yeah. Man. I only wish we could have tea with you guys in person, but this is very, very close enough. Shout out where you guys are from, just as a reminder. I know where most of you guys are from, but, you know, it's kind of nice to see who's in the room with us. I'm from Las Vegas, originally from the Philippines. Somehow tea has brought me here. Yeah, pretty cool. And then I'm going to be using some of our favorite cups as well. Yeah. Everyone's drinking all kinds of stuff. Fujuan from TJ. Mengding Ganlu. Wow, fresh green tea. Jingmai Shangpur. Nepal Jun Shivari from Nepal. Dark roast Dongding. Darjeeling. Hey, Runan's here. Wonderful, wonderful. See, I'm like a couple people missing still. We still need them to come around. It's okay. Yeah. So, gosh, I don't even want to talk about the tea that I made. It's just, yeah, again, don't get me wrong. It's not like, I'm like, oh my god, this tea's the best because I made it. It's really not. It's the fact that I made it that makes it really bad. So, Discord friends, you might have seen the picture I posted there. I took a picture of the leaves and the trees that this tea comes from. This is from Taiwan, but Tico, nice to see you. Tico, who I've traveled to the tea farms before too. Tico, you'll love this. This is from a abandoned tea farm. So sometimes you'll see it called wild or semi-wild. I would probably call it semi-wild. You've been there, right? Would you call that semi-wild? It's like, yeah, it's not from seed. It's not like the forests of Yunnan where like they've been untouched for like bazillions of years and stuff. These are maybe 40 to 60-year-old tea plants, maybe some of them going up to 80, but we're not completely sure. And they were planted, 40 to 80 years ago. And they're a kind of cultivar or varietal, a type of tea plant that's not very popular in Taiwan anymore. It's called Wu Yi, or it might be Shui Xian. We weren't really sure which one it was. And I think Floating Leaves has talked about this. It's because the people in Taiwan who know how to make oolong, kind of when they came to Taiwan, a lot of them brought their tea plants with them. So there's actually a Wu Yi tea plant type in Taiwan that you'll sometimes see called Taiwan Wu Yi, like Floating Leaves has one, Mountain Stream has that too. So it's not sure what kind of cultivar it is from Wu Yi, all they know it's from Wu Yi province. So there's Wu Yi the cultivar and then Wu Yi the processing style. This is Wu Yi oolong that's been planted in Taiwan. They don't make like the really, really dark roasted oolongs from them. When they were using these tea plants a lot, they're more like making baozhong, like baozhong tea, yeah, that you get from Pinglin. So yeah, it's an unusual cultivar, and instead of the leaves being down at my like bush height, you'll see those pictures of the tea plants, and they're all kind of like rows and really beautifully like cut and kind of manicured because this plant isn't popular anymore. And have you guys heard of Ilan in Taiwan? Anyone besides me talking about it? And I think Matt from Mountain Stream also has a couple Ilan teas because his province is right on to the south of Ilan. If he drives up, he gets to Ilan before Taipei. And yeah, Ilan's not famous, right? Because Dongding has more kind of just a popular brand name. The high mountains are very popular now. It's because Ilan is low elevation. It's kind of hot there. It's really rainy. It's not considered to be the best tea growing region in Taiwan. So when you make tea there, the leaves don't fetch as high of a price. They prefer the high mountain stuff. They believe, oh, the high mountain plants go slower and smoother, so you might as well just use high mountain tea. And of course, it's high mountain tea is very good, but That's like saying Assam doesn't deserve to be a region because it's too low elevation, you know? It's different. We want Assam, we want Darjeeling, we want Nilgiri. We want it all! That's what I believe. So that's why. Yeah, let me see continue my hellos. Chris is here, Kay Vensk is here, Cha Chai Tea, welcome, Sonia. See? Yeah, I knew that all our friends would come by. I'm so happy. We got friends from the Netherlands, Qatar, we're over here in Vegas, Shiloh's over in Oregon. Yeah, all our friends from all over. I noticed the Canadians aren't saying anything because they know they overrun the chat. That's so funny. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, they let me go up to pick tea with them. Or more of, Nai Nai is 82 years old, my teacher's mother. She's 82, 83, maybe 84. And she loves going up to these old tea farms. So they're not overgrown. It's actually part of a park now, a national, or maybe state, like a province park. And if you have tea farms inside a park, they can't demolish them because you're grandfathered into your land ownership. So within that park, it's actually like a nature park. People go biking, they go hiking, but you can't make new tea farms there. You're only allowed to keep your tea farm if you already owned it before. But the problem is, if the forest overruns the tea farm, there's a possibility that the government might not know there's a tea farm there anymore, so they'll just take it back. Which has always been like really scary to me because I don't want them to lose their family tea farm there. They usually make tea in the high mountains. They travel to the high mountains, make tea there. And the Jade Mountain that I always talk about, for example, that's not their farm. They go to make tea at Jade Mountain. There's different kinds of, tea making, tea farming relationships in Taiwan. Some people own the farm, then they make the tea from the farm. Some people make tea by contract or by payment at another person's farm, etc. So a little bit of that. But these are their personal farms that they don't make tea from all that much because it's not so worth it. And now the plants have grown really tall. They're a lot taller than me. It's not that hard to be taller than me, but they're really tall. And that's really unusual for Taiwan. Really, really unusual. If you just Google Taiwanese tea farms, you should try it, Steven. I don't know what comes up. It's going to be like all these beautiful like swaths of like perfectly manicured tea plants. And it's really nice. But there's something a little bit different from a tea plant that's allowed to grow a little bit taller.
Oh yeah.
So this is almost like, some of the plants you'll find in Yunnan in terms of they're just growing taller. And when a tea plant's allowed to, yeah, there we go. Steven's showing me all those just beautifully terraced ones. These are the same plants, but they've been allowed to grow for a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, and then what else can I say? Man, I said I wasn't going to talk too much about it, but I just want to share with you what the history is, Again, their family went to Yilan after the Japanese takeover of Taiwan, just to chill out. So their old house is still there. I've seen their old house. It's like a house with a tea farm, and I'm like, wow, that's like a pretty good strategy for if the world goes to shit. We should just go there. And yeah, so relatively taller trees that have been allowed to grow, low intervention, no pesticides, no fertilizer, they've just been chilling. So when that happens, some of the plants will die, right? Nyanka Esbecker, a couple of you are probably big fans of Matt from Mountain Stream. He and I have a lot in common just in terms of what we believe in terms of like just tea making. I think Matt probably more hardcore than I am because he just won't drink anything that's not low intervention. But I really do believe that plants that are allowed to grow and hang out and do their own thing do better. It's like people, right? If you baby the people too much, they might be pretty, but they have no character to them. Is that bad to say? The people who get to kind of suffer a little bit gain some character, they become more interesting, So these kind of untended tea plants tend to be a little bit more difficult to work with, but they kind of hold their own. And this tea, the last time I had it was, I think, in the week after I made it last year. Nai took me to the farm. She let me pick tea. And then I had to go back to Taipei because I had my job there. And I was like, okay, I'll just come back next weekend and you can let me know how the tea went that I picked. She's like, no, take it with you. I'm like, really? You want me to take the leaves with me? So they're like raw leaves. They're like raw leaves. And they're like, oh, because they're really, really good tea makers. So they're like, okay, how do we set up Reed to have like, literally this is all it is. Just this bag is all it is, okay? There's the tea that I put in here, a couple batches I had with a family at the time, and then this is the rest of it. That's it. It's the rarest tea in the world, you guys. And I had to take the bus back to Taipei, which is like an hour and some change, maybe 2 hours. So literally on the bus, I'm like here, and then I put my bus seat down, like my tray, and I have a cloth. Not plastic, it's gotta be cloth so the leaves can wither properly, because it's the withering process, right? And the very first step after the leaves have been picked is the most important. If you fuck it up, you're gonna fuck up the rest of it, right? It's like with prep. For those of you who are in culinary world or school, if you fuck up your prep, you know, if you fuck up the first steps, you can't salvage it. You can try to like put extra herbs and stuff later on to make it better, but you better get it right from the very beginning, right? So basically, the first step is to let the leaves wither, and you're trying to get all the moisture out, and this is very important. You have to do it evenly, you know, just so you can process the teas right. But I had to go to Taipei. I needed to catch the bus, so I put my tray down, and I put the cloth in, and I was like, babying my tea plants, and then there was an empty seat beside me, right? And I'm like, yeah, empty seat, like I can put it there afterwards so no one's gonna bother me. And then this lady comes. I think Steven and Christine will remember this because I was texting my tea friends from Taiwan who were in Las Vegas at the time. This lady comes and she comes over and then she smells like perfume. And I'm like, fuck this lady! Like she can't take her perfume-ridden self next to my withering tea leaves. It's like pathetic amounts of tea leaves, you know, like if you compare it to the scale that tea farmers have to make, it's like a tiny amount. This is like baby food, you know, like it's just a tiny amount, and all sorts of things go wrong. I think that my other teacher, Sister Fang, says, oh, a really good mark of a tea maker is the ability to make something good when the conditions are difficult, because most tea makers can make good tea when the conditions are good. Like there's no perfume-ridden lady beside me. She's really stinking of perfume. I mean, Jesus, God. And I don't make mean about it, but I like move my leaves slightly to the side, you know, because tea, especially at that stage, it's raw, right? It hasn't been processed yet, so it's taken up all the scents and stuff like that. And this is after I watched Nai grandma process tea. And she refuses to wear rubber slippers that have a smell when she's making tea. Okay? Did I tell you about this? If someone gives her rubber slippers and she's about to make tea, it's a huge room, you know, and she's not stepping on the tea or anything, she will not wear new rubber slippers because she thinks it's going to affect the tea. So this lady who's drenched in like Chanel 2015 or whatever, I don't know Chanel fragrances. I'm like, God, this lady. So I towed it all the way back to Taipei. It's like a 2-hour ride, and the whole time I'm just holding my leaves like this so they're even. Because if you fold it, it's kind of like a, you know, you'll get a crinkle, right? So this is gonna process unevenly compared to this part. There's a lot of steps. It's crazy. It's just whenever you have a chance to go out to the tea farms, do it, and like you'll just. No matter how much you read, no matter how much you're prepped for it, the amount of work and just detail that goes into a single batch is crazy. This is just the withering step too. This is like day 1. I finished on like day 3. It took me 3 days to make this tea. Man. I just wish I was a better storyteller because it's really, really hilarious how this went. And the next day, I was working on that tea project with Dachi. Chris comes in from Dachi team, and we're about to do some work during the day, and there's like a pile of leaves on my table that I didn't sleep that night. I was up all night making sure the leaves would be evenly withered, because you've seen this in processing videos. They'll take the leaves and they'll scatter them, right? You guys have seen this. They'll brush up all the leaves and they'll scatter them. If you haven't, go on YouTube and look up oolong processing, and you'll see these people just scoop up big leaves and they'll, shake them. This is a tiny version of it. This is me like taking leaves and go. This is like a small table in my tiny apartment in Taipei, and Chris is like, "Wow, what are the leaves for?" And they're like relatively new in the tea game. And I'm like, "What do you think they are?" He's like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "Chris, it's tea." He's like, "Oh wow, where'd you get that from?" Because most people in Taiwan know what tea looks like, but you're not going to see tea being made and processed in Taipei. It's like most New York people have never seen a cow farm or something like that. I have never seen a cow farm. I've never been to one, I mean. So, yeah, withering all day, you gotta make sure the leaves are like turned over. And then, here's the thing. I was so surprised that they let me take this back with me to Taipei, because I've seen them make tea a couple times. I've seen them make tea in Taiwan. I've seen it being made in China and India, Nepal. But even if you see it, it's like watching Chef's Table on Netflix or Beat Bobby Flay or any of those chef shows and thinking you can make that thing after you saw them, right? You kind of get the idea, but the little tiny details that they just know what to do are lost on someone like me, even if I've asked about it. So I was really surprised that they let me take it back. Because when do you stop withering, right? Nerds, when do you stop withering to start the kill green process? You guys have heard all of this. I'm really happy to put all these terms now into a story that's not just on a book. Because before I did this, like, kill green is just a thing I memorized, right? When do you know when to kill green? Wow, Steven just spilled tea all over the... Did you not like it, Steven? You just got so excited by the tea that I made?
So excited.
And when do you know when to stop the kill green? And, when do you know when to turn the leaves? There's no timer that tells you, hey, the leaves need to be turned now. And then going from Ilan to Taipei is a different environment in the bus with the AC. I had to, like, shelter the leaves so that the AC wasn't, like, hitting the leaves too much, you know what I mean? And that's just me overreacting. It's not like I have to sell the tea, but a tea maker has to consider the wind that day. Is it rainy? Is it not rainy? Is it muggy? If in the morning it's sunny, then at night it's windy. You gotta adjust for all of that stuff. So there's no guidebook, so it's very easy to mess up tea. That's for sure. Wow, that's really good. This is the first sip we've had of it. I've just been busy talking. Wow. Holy crap. That's insane. That's so good. That's not my processing, because I know what I did to it. That's the leaves. I've never had Taiwan oolong that tastes like that. It actually reminds me a little bit of the Taiwan shang from Matt, doesn't it? Right? I had this last year, but I let it rest for like 8 months now. The taste of fresh tea is very different after you processed it versus down the road. I find that it's nice to let it sit down a little bit. So this is the first time I'm having it when it's not super, super fresh. And wow, it's very smooth. It almost has like that shampoo flavor, Steven. Like, am I imagining it? It's got like that minerality because the leaves are from trees that kind of like from down below, right? And yeah, wow, that's really tasty. It's got like an aromatic thing going on. The thing that sucks about this, like my processing, is that the flavors could be fuller with how good the leaves are, but they're not because I didn't process it that well. Oops. Yeah, wow. So yeah, the color is like this golden color, if you can look at it. I guess you'd call it like a maybe light to medium oolong. And how did I know when to stop the oxidation? I didn't know. You kind of just have to smell the leaves and see if that's what you want. So this is something I wanted to talk about after yesterday's tea practice. The same batch of leaves with two different people, you're going to get two different results because they're going to want something. And me being like an overeager beginner doing this stuff, I was like, I want to tell a story. Like, I want the leaves to express themselves. I want them to be what they want to be, right? And then you have to keep like, okay, can I make it happen with the weather? Can I make it happen with the AC? Now I'm in my Taipei apartment and it's the AC, right? Do I point the AC at the leaves? Do I point it up towards the wall? And I was like adjusting my AC. Like, I think those of you who were with me during the Taiwan lives, I always had a really loud AC. Remember that? My AC was really loud because my AC is right beside my desk. And yeah, I babied that tea for 3 days. And then afterwards, I had the job of just getting all the leaves. You roll them, and then it took like an hour and a half to roll them. Okay, and then I didn't have a wok, so I got a skillet for eggs and got our hot plate because I didn't have a kitchen in the apartment. So I just got a skillet that I usually use for eggs. I cleaned it really, 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 really well, and then I heated it to like pan fry it. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, and dry it and stuff. Yeah, so you heat it to kill the green a little bit, keep it soft, roll it, and then dry it again. And then over the next couple days, I dried it a couple more times so that it wouldn't get moldy. And then actually, I made a batch of this tea a little bit separate in a little bag, all the little dust particles. Because I kept all the nice kind of full leaves in this bag here. Let's see. I can show you. Yeah, so they're all full leaves. They look really nice. Not because I'm really good at shaping, but because I put all the full leaves in this bag. All the dust I actually put in a separate bag. And that bag molded up, unfortunately, last year because I didn't fire it enough. I didn't remove enough moisture from it. So that broke my heart because all the little, like, it was almost like, what would you call it? Like sencha size pieces? Like tea dust, but it's still tasty, you know? We could have still infused it, but because I didn't remove the moisture enough, it had molded inside the bag, so I had to throw it away. And I was really mad at myself because it was a lot of tea. Like, it wasn't a whole lot of tea, but this is not a lot of tea, so to lose like a third of it was really upsetting to me. But it just goes to show, there's just so many tiny steps that you have to do to be able to get a good result from the leaves. And yeah, like Jeremy says, I'm not good enough of a storyteller to pause because I'm concentrating too hard on not messing up my words because the words are difficult. Jeremy says days to make and minutes to drink. Yeah, it's crazy how much work it goes into it. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Robin from RB Ceramics says, "We baozong with shang notes with it on the bus." Maybe the perfumey flavors from the lady. No, her perfume didn't smell like this. It wasn't even like one of those classy perfumes. It was like, she's like an older woman and she was wearing like something really peachy and fruity and jasmine-y, and I was like, dude, did you just go to Bath and Body Works and spray something on? And then she was talking really loud on the phone too, which is not something that's very socially acceptable in Taiwan. So I was like, what's wrong with this lady? And then I was trying to like, okay, don't put negative energy into the tea, because like, what if I'm like upset while I'm trying to make it? It's not going to turn out well. So trying to calm down. I'll post the processing pictures on Discord after this, actually. So if you guys would like to see the progression of it, you'll be able to see. And again, you know, it's not because I'm that great of a tea maker. It's toddler trying to fill the lines with a crayon, you know. But it's, yeah, doing this now, this is why I'm so amazed when a tea maker can take the same material as I did and make it that amazing. Like, holy crap, how does a human with that much, just same human, right? Same 24 hours in a day make so much come out of the leaves, you know? And they're still not satisfied with their tea making skill after like 20, 30, 40, 50 years of it. It's just incredible. Yeah. I'm very surprised by how smooth this is. I think that's the leaf material. You know how the trees in Yunnan that are a little bit taller, older, will tend to be a little bit smoother? This is quite similar to that. And yeah, I will show you the processing photos, but don't imagine them looking very beautiful. You know, online there's all those beautiful photos of like the tea leaves being tossed with like a DSLR camera. in the sunlight, you know, because like Chinese and Taiwanese tea makers actually really like having photographers come to them and take pictures of the tea processing, because it's very beautiful if you can capture it. All the green and all the, you know, white cloth and bamboo. But this is me in my Taiwan apartment, Taipei apartment, with like, you know, my, what do you call this, like contact paper table and my hot plate trying to Kilgreen the tea. It's insane. Just, yeah, ridiculous. And then afterwards, I actually went to see my friend, Jason. He's a Sarcastic Pro. Sometimes he's on here. And I finished rolling the tea and drying it, so I let it to rest. So I hop on the bus to go see him for night market in Taipei. Night market's a big deal in Taipei. If anyone likes food, you will like the night market in Taipei. Dude, night market in Taipei is bomb. My god, just bring $20. I think $20 per person is more than enough. Yeah, like, easy. You have like skewers, you got fish, you got fresh juice. Remember the fresh juice? Like the watermelon and stuff like that? Oh my god. Dessert, ice cream, sushi. You've got like traditional Chinese dishes, traditional Taiwanese dishes. It's like a mix of street stalls and restaurants that are along the night markets and stuff. And there's different night markets in every single part of the city and the country. So I bet there's like dozens, if not like near 100 different night markets in Taipei. I mean, in Taiwan. Such a small area, and every single night market has its own like specialty and seasonal dishes and local foods. And then people will like be like, oh, you know, the fried chicken in like that particular market. I'm forgetting which one. God, what's the name of the really, really famous one where I lived? It's where I lived. I forgot where it was. Yeah, that one has the best fried chicken, but they don't have any squid balls. So if you want squid balls, you can't go to that one. You gotta go to this other one. Or, you know, the Ilan night market, Luodong, is known for really good food near my teacher's house. So we like to go there. And then there are night markets for shopping, night markets for clothes, night markets for like young people. And then, so I was meeting up with my friend to go to the night market for food, because we were like big foodies. We hate the night markets with like just clothes and the food's really bad. And I see him. I'm like, hey Jason, look. And I'm like, smell my hands, I smell like tea. It's stupid. Like we're like in the subway station. I'm like, there's a girl like just shoving her hands up in someone's nose. And Jason's a tea guy too. He used to have a tea company called Teaful. I think he's still going. And so yeah, he gets it, but still he was like, oh my god, Ree, why are you shoving your hands up in my face? Because after you roll the tea, there's that aroma that sticks to your fingers. It's a sticky kind of starches from the leaves, and that's what's on the surface of the leaves when you brew them. That's why I say don't rinse your oolong if it's good, because all that goodness is going to get washed away. The really, really fragrant, just sugary, delicious. You remember the smell, right? When you made tea in Hualien. Oh, it's just so good. So I processed tea all day, and then I hung out with Jason at night. We had some oyster omelet. It's like a really, like, yeah, it's hard to describe. It's like an egg omelet with fresh oysters and green onions in Taiwan, and everything in Taiwan is super fresh and awesome and delicious. And I think we paid like $5 for like a big plate of oyster included omelets. Just, God, so good. So good. And then go get a bubble tea afterwards. Yeah. Good stuff. What am I missing with you guys talking about your tea wraps? I don't listen to enough rap to know about what you guys are talking about. Ian from Dottitron, welcome to tea practice today. More like tea story time. And welcome back, Shiloh. Dino Lencioni's here. Eric from One Man's Tea Journey is here. Yeah, I hope I'm making you guys hungry. We miss Taiwan so much. We would be there right now if it wasn't for the obvious situation. At the very beginning, when we were organizing the spring tour for this year, which is obviously canceled, our family was like, oh, don't go to Taiwan. Don't go to Taiwan. You might get coronavirus there. And we're like, for the record, I think Taiwan is still under 1,000 how many cases? Like 1 to 2,000 cases, I think, is what they have. They were so close to China, but they were so good at handling the situation that they barely got any cases. And that's why on the news you'll hear that whole like, oh, Taiwan is angry at the World Health Organization for looping it into China because whatever politics you have, it's just they played the situation really well. They did a really good job. And yeah, now I was like, if we go to Taiwan, we're going to bring coronavirus there, not the other way around. Because I just love Taiwan. Taiwan's so wonderful. But yeah, oyster omelette. Oh, Delphine, you would love all of the, gosh, if I lived in Taiwan full time, I could just be vegetarian, because, right?
Oh, easy.
All the dishes, it'd be so easy. I mean, I should be vegetarian anyway, but so fresh and so cheap. Soup and stir fries and hot pot. Yeah, wow. Holy crap. So good. Yeah, and Taiwan's headed by a woman, and it's the first country in Asia to legalize gay marriage and marriage equality. They're just like, you know, they're like way ahead. And when they had their election, Taiwanese citizens from abroad flew back to their country to vote. And I'm like, wow, holy crap. I'm not saying everyone from Taiwan is amazing. And I always say to people who come with us, I'm like, don't, you know, I might have over-exaggerated how great it is. So I'm sorry if I just, I don't know, what's the word for it? Like, built it up too much? I oversold it, or I overhyped it. I hyped it up too much. And then I went to pick up Steven from the airport, who was there with our friend Christine, because they were the last people to arrive for the tour in November. And an hour had passed, and Steven and I and Christine were on the train beside the airport, going to the city, and Steven was like, we're moving here. An hour in. It's just so lovely. It's just so beautiful. God, I hate that country. It's so good. Yeah, so that's why this tea has so much like meaning to us and meaning to me. I just love Taiwan so much, and how generous of my teacher to help me, like, let me keep these leaves, you know? They could have kept it for themselves. And the trust, again, that I've talked about. Tea people have that trust that, you know, it doesn't matter if the person doesn't know how to taste tea. It doesn't matter if the person doesn't know how to make tea. It's like, yeah, this question I've asked before, if you had your best tea ever, like, it's very expensive and very special to you, and you only have a little bit of it, would you have the generosity to give it to someone else who's a relative stranger, maybe like a friend of a friend, and you don't know them? Do you have the ability to trust that they can appreciate it, right? I ask that because I have that issue where if I'm faced with someone's friend and they're like, you know, hey, my friend likes tea, and the friend, yeah, I love chamomile from Tivana, it's just my favorite, and like Sleepy Time is my favorite, you know what I mean? Like, that's my problem, right? Like, if I hear the Sleepy Time come out, or the Celestial Seasonings, or, you know, I love lavender mint tea, I get the and then they ask you, what's the best tea, right? That's a very common question. And then just, you know, by habit, don't we usually just give them like, oh, I'll just give them like a genmaicha or something, right? Like, you're not going to trust them to appreciate whatever. And I'm not saying to like break out your Mother Bush dansong or, you know, Iwu Old Tree with someone completely new. Of course, there's a time and place for everything, but can you have the ability to do it if you think that it's the time and place? And I could have really easily messed these up, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Geoff making fun of me. How generous of them to let me keep these leaves. They definitely let me pick the leaves, okay? They were really happy to. Because honestly, they don't always get up there because it's just too much work for them. You have to walk up the mountain and stuff like that and bring it down, and it's not that much money for this amount of tea. Like, this is like, that's probably like 30 grams in total. Because when you're thinking about finished leaves versus raw leaves, you have to pick, let's say you want to make 100 grams of leaves, right? 3.5 ounces, 100 grams. To get 100 grams, you need to pick 400 grams of leaves to make 100 grams, depending on the tea. 3 to 500. Usually the number is 4 times. So 400 grams raw will become 100 grams finished. So for me, getting these, like I had a big basket of leaves that I'd picked over the course of like a good 3 to 4 hours, you know, like, and if you see the picture on Discord, they're not like bushes, so you had to like climb up and go pick them, and then they're growing at different rates. So some leaves are really abundant and big, some leaves are really tiny, and I had to adjust for that, you know, because if some leaves are tiny and some leaves are big, they're going to fire at different rates when you're processing. There's so many moving parts. Jesus. Okay, let's go back to torturing people with with Taiwanese tea food and Taiwanese food. There's Taiwanese tea food too. We had a hot pot with Tieguanyin. Remember that in Muza? Did you like that? I don't think you did as much as me and Christine. What? Hot pot with Iron Goddess in Muza. Steven doesn't like tea flavored things that much.
Except for Hojicha ice cream.
Yeah, I like that. We did a hot pot with Muza Tieguanyin. So there's hot pot, and then you put tea leaves in it, in Muza, and then it's like a regular hot pot, but there's that kind of like Tieguanyin flavor in the tea, which is really fun. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I really like herbal tea, but it's the whole like, you know, if someone comes to me and they're still have no idea that lavender isn't the tea that we're talking about, that's just like, okay, the journey's starting. How do we have the patience to kind of just, you know, help make it happen, I guess. Gosh, I like lavender. I like lavender a lot. I think good lavender is really good. Jeremy says shopor with dim sum. Yeah, it's pretty good too. Really, really, really good. So yeah, this is the tea. It's lovely. It's just so good. Look at how big the leaves are. You can see the stem is so well developed. Ooh, oop. I'm not sure if that's really a telltale sign of like old tree, but I've been told before that sometimes the middle line is really, really thick. It's like a sign of an older tree, but I mean, it looks like here, like it's usually when you're dealing with oolong leaves, they're not usually this thick down the center, you know? Yeah. Perfumey. Really tasty. Luca V28, welcome. We're just drinking some tea that I picked last year on my birthday. Very close to my birthday, like 2 days after my birthday. Yeah, I spent my birthday alone in Taipei. It was really sad. That was probably one of the loneliest summers I've ever had. I think I was talking to some of you while I was there, but I didn't realize it at the time. But it was a very, very difficult summer. I was going through a lot. And I spent most of my summer alone and, you know, pretty struggling. Like, it was my first time that far away from home. I lived alone in the 6th floor apartment in, like, a foreigner's neighborhood, so I didn't want to, like, make too close friends with my foreigner friends, because I was like, I want to be friends with Taiwanese people, but Taipei, you know, I find is a very difficult place to make friends, and I've heard from people who live in Taipei that it's difficult to make friends unless you grow up with them. So I was really lonely that summer, and this was probably the highlight of my summer there. I had a really good time working with Dachi, but it's just because we were a remote team and I wasn't with my tea family at the time. I was like one province over. I would go see them during the weekends if we didn't have too much work to do. It was like a 2-month consulting project, so it wasn't very long, but I was pretty homesick by the end of it. And then in the middle, I went to Manila for the first time in 12 years, so that was another highlight. I went back to Manila where I was born. I hadn't seen my family and friends there in like 12, 13 years, I think. So that was a roller coaster of a summer, that's for sure. And then after that, I came back home and decided I had to go date Steven, and then I asked him out. Yeah, so that's how it happened. That's why some of you who've known me for longer than the Steven era are like, where did this kid Steven come from? Like, when did that happen? And Steven was one of my tea students for our workshops here in Las Vegas, and there's this kid who just showed up at every single one. Almost every single one, you were there. Taiwan, Nepal workshop, Gongfu Brewing, matcha, everything. And we'd become really good friends. And yeah, I had broken up with my ex, and I was like, I think Steven is pretty cool. Let's go ask him out. So that all happened within like 2-3 months, and that was pretty insane. So this tea represents that period in my life of quite a lot of upheaval and emotion and being really happy. Like, that was my first time being called abroad for a tea project. So I was like, hey, now I'm an international tea consultant. I can put that on my resume, right? People in Taiwan asked me to come help them on a tea project in Taiwan. Wow, I'm hot stuff. But I'm miserable in my apartment that they gave to me for the project because I'm having so many personal problems. And then that was like, I went to Taiwan a week after Tea Masters Cup. So remember Tea Masters Cup? That was in June for World Tea Expo. So I'd come back from Taiwan after April, May I was in Taiwan. I stayed to train for Tea Masters Cup. So 1 whole month of working on Tea Masters Cup stuff, and then World Tea Expo. And then Tea Masters Cup happened, and then World Tea Expo, the tea party, that massive, we were just hosting people for like 3 days at Tea and Whisk. Remember that, Jeffrey? Gia from Lazy Literatus. We were hosting people, and then I lost Tea Masters Cup. And no, I'm not tearing up. I have allergies, dude. But if you want me to be tearing up, that's fine. Yeah, Tea Masters Cup, and then I lost to my really good friend Mike from JoJo Tea. And I'm not mad about the fact he won. I'm mad at the fact that I lost because I did not play it correctly, and I was really mad at myself and really blaming myself because I really felt like I lost it. It was my fault. I just wasn't mindful enough. I hadn't slept the night before. I thought about the tea too much, and that was like a big lesson to me not to overthink sometimes when I make tea. And I think I'll always just be the kind of person who, loves to think about tea and experiment and stuff, but I think there was a part of me that just kind of lost sight of the just soulful aspect of it because I was thinking about it too much. And yeah, I introduced that back in, and then Steven also is a very kind of soulful tea brewer, so that, yeah. And then making tea with the family, it's yeah, you can't overthink it. And so I'd taken that lesson from Tea Masters Cup when I made this tea, where it's like, okay, don't think too much about the oxidation or the withering reed, like, it's important to keep those in mind. But I already do, like, it's very natural to me to think about, like, the nerdy bits, the details. I overthink things too much. Like, my issue isn't doing too little. It's almost like thinking too much, and so it destroys it. And it sounds like I'm like humble bragging, but it's more like it's not good. Don't do that. Like, don't overthink the tea. You need to, like, if you think you can outsmart the tea, you cannot. And I thought for a while I could. You can over-engineer it. Yeah. You gotta have a balance. There's definitely a balance that needs to be made. So, like, don't go off into the mountains and grow a really long beard that goes down to your knees, and don't talk to anyone. That's not how you learn about tea, right? And, like, don't collect water and rest it under the moonlight. I mean, it might help, but you should probably have a TDS meter, right? That's pretty important. I'm really happy about our water formula. It really brings out a lot from our teas. It just works really well, but there's gotta be that balance for sure. And yeah, I guess last year was my year of balance. Yeah. There's just so much in this tea, for sure. And yeah, thank you guys for joining us for, all of these live sessions. Geoff, I saw you made that post and linked me. He made a post about the tea activities we were doing during quarantine. I haven't gotten back to my messages on Instagram because I'm just like, I just gotta get through this 40 days and then take a break. But yeah, you've told me, Geoff, and I appreciate you and everything you do too. And Sonia too, thank you for everything. Thanks for joining us. This has just been so great. Yeah. Sonia says, are we going to see Steven today? Steven pops up on Discord, but...
I haven't put my makeup on yet.
Steven will not leave the house without a long sleeve shirt on. He's in a t-shirt right now, so I don't think he'll do it. He's one of those people, like, I need to have a long sleeve on. And the first time I saw him in a t-shirt, I was like... Wow, there's something wrong. Like, he has clothes on, but it also looks, like, weird. What is it? And I'm like, oh, it's because I see his forearms for the first time. You know? Like, even I roll up my sleeves sometimes, you know? But if you just see someone who never has their forearms out, I'm just like, wow, okay. Yeah, we're getting funny here. Oh my gosh. Jeremy says, Discorders, see Steven. He's mysterious for the Instagram people out there. Some people don't even know he exists. Yeah. Geoff, you met him last year, actually, at World Tea Expo at the party. Yeah.
I brewed the Jinchuan White.
What?
You had me brew the Jinchuan White.
Oh, that's right. He was the one who I had brew the Taiwan White tea. I think by the time I already known Steven liked me. So I was like, we'll see. Steven actually, I asked him to join a tea brewing competition at Tea Masters Cup.
No, I hate this.
Okay, well, I won't tell them that story.
It's okay, go ahead.
We'll tell the Discord friends. Yeah, go ahead.
Funny.
Okay, so I asked him to join Tea Masters Cup. And for those of you who want to join Tea Masters Cup, there's one in America, there's one in Canada. I think there's ones in Europe too. So I told all of our tea students at Tea and Whisk and just the local Vegas community to come up and apply. And so Christine got in. Christine, who ended up being second place mixology, she beat me. I was really proud. I almost cried when she won. I cried when she won. I was so happy. People were like, "Were you not upset that she beat you?" I'm like, "You're kidding me?" I was so happy. And then Alex, her fiance, got in too. And then Steven was the only one out of us who didn't get in who applied. And the reason why
we don't know the
because
reason. It's random selection.
It's probably because, okay, if you get an application for your contest and the application says, actually, I don't believe that tea should be a competition. I believe it should just be about sharing and experience. I don't know why we have to make it a competition. They're not gonna.
You're changing my words a little bit.
What was it then?
I don't remember.
I don't believe tea should be a competition. That's what you said. That's what he said. And then he was wondering, I wonder why I didn't get picked. He was the only one who didn't get picked. Oh my god, that's really funny. Oh man. So yeah. Steven, they're asking you to come on camera.
Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow, he says, during tomorrow's live stream. You guys are gonna make me laugh. Oh my gosh. Steven's very handsome too. Oh, here's another. Nai, the grandma, my tea family grandma, I just love her. Again, she's the one who was with me when we picked this tea, and she was teaching me how to pick. And she said, "Oh, that's too small. Pick the bigger one." She's great. When she first met Steven in autumn, because I was in Taiwan in April, during the summer for 3 months almost, and then again for the November tea tour, which is when I brought Steven in our group. And I introduced Steven to her. They've been waiting to meet this guy, right? Because they weren't really a big fan of my ex or whatever. And they meet Steven, and then Nai is just like very serious looking.
We can't talk to each other, obviously.
Yeah, we can't talk because she speaks no English at all. I think the only English word she's ever learned is banana. I taught her how to say banana because she asked me. I don't know why. We were on a walk and she's like, Ian should, like how to say this in English. And she's just like sitting at the very corner of the tea table in her tea room where she's just the boss lady of that tea room. And she can't talk because she doesn't speak English, doesn't understand, and everyone else is speaking English at that time. And she says something to my teacher, and I just cracks up. Her like really big laugh, and she says, "That's Steven. He's really handsome, and the more I look at him, he gets more handsome." And then later on she goes, "He's really getting more handsome and the more that I look at him." And so Nai told us if we want to get married, we can go get married at Dayuling, like the highest elevation tea farm in Taiwan.
Like, we'll go in August.
She
Come
says,
to Dayuling, we'll get you
this
married.
This August, she says, "This August, let's go to Dayuling and get married." Can you imagine? Oh my goodness. I haven't even told anyone this story. It's just all of you. Who, I mean, there's a lot of us in chat, but I feel like all of you are just our closest tea friends. Even if you're just joining us for these daily live sessions, I see you guys, you know. I know some of you don't talk as much or, you know, are just hanging out, but I know sometimes I don't talk much when I'm watching something and I care about it, so I appreciate it when you guys join us. So, yeah, you heard it first here, you know, if Nai doesn't live up to her promise to take us to Dayuling to get married, that's pretty sweet, right? Get married in Taiwan's highest elevation tea farms. I don't know if I prefer Dayuling or just their backyard tea farm, though. It just means more, I think. Because I've never been to Dayuling. Yeah. Steven's just in shock. He's like, sometimes I say too much, and Steven's just like, I can't stop her now, what do I do? So they like Steven. Yeah, they like Steven a lot. Which is good, because he was really nervous, because that's almost like meeting my family. He had to meet my family, and then he had to meet my tea family, and then he has to meet my Filipino family in Manila. So he's got three in-laws to get through. It's so, yeah. Oh my gosh. Ronan's met Nai and has spent lots of time with them. She's very opinionated, isn't she? Yeah, it's like, man. Oh my goodness. Geoff says Alishan instead of Dayuling.
Mm.
How about Jade Mountain?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. And yeah. So many stories. I hope you guys are doing okay. This has been really fun. I have so much fun with you guys. I can't think of any way to spend 40 hours, almost 60 if you include like the going over. Sometimes we've done this for like 2 hours, right? Our tea practice. Man, I really enjoy this. I really appreciate you guys. This has been so much fun. I think I learned a lot. I hope you guys got something of value from these live streams. It's like we're dying or something. We're gonna see you on Sunday next week. Yeah. We're gonna go back to our weekly live streams. If you want to continue, you know, just conversations, join the Discord. I know that the Discord sounds kind of weird and scary. Like, what is that? It's another thing. But I designed it to mimic these experiences that I have where I learn through talking to people, right? Like, I hope that there's something that I conveyed that can't be conveyed in a book. It's just these conversations that I feel are the most enriching for tea practice and tea journey. Just being around tea people, even if you're talking about cheese and bread and making French jokes and, you know, ragging on each other's teaware. I think that's the way you learn the most, is through people, not through books, not through forums, you know? And yeah, I really appreciated this. We'll see you again on next week on maybe Sunday. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to ask when you guys would like to do these days, like these streaming days. We're not sure which day yet. Do you guys have any idea? I'd like to keep this still accessible for our Europe friends. I know it's still really late there. When we get back to work, we would have to do one at the right time because we're usually at work at this time. Our day jobs, which we do so we don't cut any corners with our tea practice, because we'd never sell out. Fuck that shit. I'd rather eat dirt than sell out with my tea practice. And yeah, it's been really fun. If you want to join us next year or this year for the tea tour, let us know. That's really early, but we're going to try to do one this year to make up for not doing one in the spring. And they're really fun. We only bring like 5-6 people max, so they're very intimate. But the most important thing is join the Discord. You need to join the Discord. And yeah, we'll see you on Instagram, Discord, around the corner, in spirit with a T. We love you guys too. 40 days is over. I hope you guys have a really nice day. Okay? Thank you, like, from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. It's been awesome. Yeah. T is so great. Oh my god.